She's got the
Okay.
glow. Gee, do these lights look crazy on me right
No,
now?
they
It's on
look
YouTube, right?
legit. Like I wish I had like you look like you are like doing,
I
you
look
know,
like I know what I'm doing right now. Yeah, it's
yeah, like
great.
you look like a an expert that they call in on CNN. The first of 2023's 12 Beers of Christmas is Cookie Exchange Milk Stout from Great Lakes Brewing Company. I share the beer with Michael Williams from the brewery and talk about utilizing natural and artificial flavorings to complement whole spices when brewing. Plus, Mike walks us through the delicious recipe for Cookie Exchange brown butter blondies that you can make at home this holiday season. Beer reduction. Don't forget, Chop and Brew's 12 Beers of Christmas tasting and interview series is made all the more merry with ongoing support from Imperial Yeast and our Holly Jolly Patreon party people. Join them at patreon.com/chop and brew. What's going on, everybody? On this Beer of Christmas, I'm joined by Michael Williams. You know, he had to show up because it's Christmas and we do this
That's right.
every year. This year, Michael's with Great Lakes Brewing Company. We've done everything you could ever imagine about Christmas ale and bourbon, barrel-aged Christmas ale, and variants of Christmas ale. Today, we're flipping the script. We got Cookie Exchange Milk Stout,
Oh
very
yeah.
cookie flavored, cookie inspired beer, part of a new rotating kind of cookie series. Michael, tell me about that Cookie Exchange that we've got in the glass. I should say this is one of two this year, right?
So no, so for Cookie Exchange itself, this is one of two new seasonal releases that we're doing like along with Christmas Ale, which is out every year. There's that cran orange wheat too, but it's just the one flavor of Cookie Exchange itself. And then we're gonna start, like you were kind of alluding to, this is gonna rotate annually. So that's part of the fun for us, like as brewers, is that this year it's the Speculoos spice blend. Next year it's gonna be something different and people really love the beer so far. So I imagine we're going to keep concocting new flavors for many years to come.
We've talked a lot about Christmas ale, which clearly has cinnamon sticks, ginger root, honey. Here we're getting kind of a different showing, at least in my mind, from Great Lakes. You pointed out these are flavorings and extracts. Kind of talk a little bit how you and the brew crew envision these flavors and why maybe you go to those kinds of ways to get the flavor versus the whole spice, the whole adjunct, whatever.
Right, totally. Because Christmas ale for us is about as traditional as it gets with whole cinnamon sticks and fresh cut ginger and all that. Whereas there is some actual vanilla in this. We use vanilla in the whirlpool. So it's the base beer is a milk stout. So of course it's going to have a little bit of lactose in there too. But it's a slightly different approach for a kind of a traditional craft brewer like us, where we are using some just so we kind of joke around at the at the brewery, and I'm on the I work closely with the guys in the brewery, but I'm not actually in the brewery all the time. So we kind of joke about the COO has his magic drops, and he's a wizard, and he's creating these things in his cauldron and things like that. So, but it's straight up like for the first time we are using both. Actually, it's timely we brought up the cran orange wheat because we also use some natural and artificial flavors in that beer as well. So it's new territory for us. And I think like a lot of people, when they think of craft beer, they think of those real natural ingredients, right? But that was also like in the 80s when it was a totally different context for when craft beer was emerging and like
Yeah.
we were kind of staying away from industrialized beer. The way we're kind of taking it is like, look, these natural and artificial flavorings, which pretty much are just it's liquid, right? It's liquid chemicals that you mix in with the beer to give it the flavoring. I mean, that is what it is. They've advanced enough in quality over the past 30 years that you can have a beer that doesn't taste totally fake. We say artificial flavors, but it doesn't. You're sipping cookie right now, right?
Right.
You getting that vibe at all? That
No, I almost, when we tried this at work a few weeks back, I likened it to like pastry stout light, like
right.
a 5.5% version of some of these big, bold flavors, but without that heavy, high final gravity kind of body that almost like weighs you down. No, I get a lot of like creme brulee, kind of in with the caramel and the vanilla, but tasting it now, I haven't tasted it since a couple weeks ago. I'm just getting sick, so I think my like sensors are like fine tuning themselves again, and I
Right.
get like a Nutella kind of
Totally.
thing
Oh,
going on, like the hazelnut and the chocolate.
totally. Yep. And that Speculoos. So for those out there watching, the Speculoos spice blend is not necessarily this household name, right? So I don't know, maybe it is. I hadn't heard of it before we came up with it for this release, but it's basically that little Biscoff cookie that you would get on a plane. It's the Belgian spice one that it's kind of vaguely
Delta
reminiscent of.
Airlines, what?
That's right.
I'm
Got
like,
that
can I
direct
get
flight.
3 of those to go? My wife's gonna want one of these, please.
That's right. Yeah. And you got to hop on that direct flight to Cleveland, man. Come on, we're
Yeah,
waiting for you. Right. We got
no.
that direct, I think.
A couple of years ago, or more at this point, a local brewer makes a Christmas ale, and it's inspired by Speculoos by a trip to Belgium that he and his wife took. So it's got a lot of, I can't remember what was in it, but like a lot of the elements that would be in that. So when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh. So we're going to link to a true Speculoos cookie recipe and a Speculoos, it's basically like a dark Belgian strong.
Oh, sweet.
But besides the beer, you guys on your website have this awesome recipe for brown buttered blondies made with this beer. And I was like, hey, do you know much about this recipe? You're like, yeah, that was developed at my house.
Not by me, but
yeah, your wife.
Yeah.
Just real quick, tell me about, you don't have to go super in depth about this recipe, but why does this beer work well in this recipe? And like, tell me a little bit about working with the beer reduction. Like, I've never really done that a whole lot.
Yeah, she had to be real careful with that one. So anytime you're doing a reduction with beer because of your hop character and your IBUs, you can concentrate that bitterness character a lot. So, but the last thing that we wanted to do was do just another chocolate dessert when cooking with this beer. And also a cookie would have been way too easy. So we were not going to do a cookie recipe for Cookie Exchange. So Blondies worked out really well because still a dessert, it's still sweet and rich. Oh my goodness, that the brown butter thing that kind of went throughout it was, that was chef's kiss right there. So it was nice because you had like really the best pairings are when you've got, it can't be too matchy like, oh, there's chocolate in the beer, so let's do a chocolate dessert. The blondie itself is such a great kind of base for the flavors that, especially like the kind of caramely type vibe that you were mentioning before. We say caramel and vanilla a lot for this particular beer. So it was ended up getting just like a little bit of impression of the beer in there without it being overwhelming or getting totally lost in the chocolate. They were really good. And my desk at the brewery is right in the center of the floor. It's like on the hitch, so that we put all the desserts on the cabinet right outside my desk. So it was like dipping back into the desk from walking around. I'll have another little blondie and stuff. So yeah, it was a fun one. She did another one with I think Blackout Stout last year that were brownies. That worked out because Blackout's so big, especially for, like you said, it's a lighter gravity stout. It's just 5.5. Something more like a blondie just made a lot more sense.
Yeah, we will link the recipe because I would love for people to go find this beer, drink 4 cans of it, save 2 cans for making this reduction or 1 can for the reduction. That is super cool. We don't really get a lot of like food recipes with our 12 beers of Christmas, so that was a little like stocking stuffer for the people.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. And hey, you think that people know what a cookie exchange is? Because it's part of the holiday tradition. Yeah.
I mean, talk about it. I know people. I mean, we're upper Midwesterners. We know what it is, but what is it? What's it mean to Cleveland?
And we got the hot dish exchange for Midwest too, right? So right. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess generally, maybe I'm making a little bit more than it is, but like specifically, we wanted to do a cookie beer for this particular release because of that whole theme of sharing around the holidays. Obviously, it's a beer that's made in conjunction with Christmas ale. Specifically, I think it's like a big thing in Belgium, where the Speculoos cookie spice blend hails from. Also, our COO, that's where some of these ideas probably come from as well. So
I didn't know that.
So it's
the
like
idea of the cookie exchange.
Yeah, I believe so. So it's cool. Like it's more than just, oh, it's a stout. It makes sense for the cooler early winter season, but it also makes sense because of the theme, because it's we're leading up to Christmas and it's a time of merriment and sharing, and specifically a tradition of bringing like baked goods to one another's homes. So
you figure out how many people are going to be there, and then you bake X dozen of cookies, and then everybody goes home with like all these little cute ribboned bags of like, if you have 12 friends, you're going to have 12 different kinds of cookies, and it's awesome because then you're not having to make them all for yourself, and you get to share maybe a story about something that's connected to your family, something you did as a kid, something you now do as an adult.
Right on.
All right, well, this is not the last beer of Christmas with Great Lakes, but it is the end of this video. So me and Michael are about to get into a very special commemorative Imperial Amber. That video might be tomorrow. It might be later in the series. It might have already happened. I don't have any idea. This is our first night of laying some tracks down for 12 BOC. So, Michael, I'll see you in a couple minutes.
Cheers, brother. See you soon. See you soon.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, y'all.